Welcome to Awakening TV's weekly episode of Awakening to Your Story's Weekly Love. I'm heart expert and the author of the book, Awakening to Your Story, Alicia Hartzell. Today we are going to talk about stress and adversity. Stress is something I talk about a lot, and I teach classes on how to transform struggle and stress into adventure and bliss. But when I was watching YouTube, I found an amazing video that had to do with stress and a lobster. Now, Rabbi Dr. Abraham Tversky did an amazing job of telling his story. He was in a doctor's office or a dentist's office, and he was flipping through a magazine and found this article about how lobsters deal with stress and how they change their shells. And his take was just brilliant. YouTube it. It's awesome. I'll try to put a link up with the video. And it got me thinking about adversity, and I want to talk to you about it today. We're not dealing with a question. We're just going to jump off of the video and kind of work within the Awakening to Your Story dynamic of how to deal with adversity. Now, the story with the lobster is great. So lobsters' shells don't grow with them. This is something I did not know. A lobster is a soft, fleshy creature, and he has a hard outer shell. That rigid, hard outer shell doesn't actually grow. And when the lobster starts growing and growing and growing, and his shell gets too tight, what he does is he actually casts off the shell, and then he goes and hides under the rocks, and he grows himself a new shell. And this is amazing. As the rabbi was talking about it, his quote that I took away that resonated so completely with what I believe and what I teach is, times of stress are times of growth. If you use adversity properly, you can grow your way through the adversity. And I believe in this 110%. If you try to numb out the adversity, or you try to bury your head in the sand, you're actually creating problems for yourself. You're going to create volume that's going to have to rise to get you to create the shift and change. You're going to grow out of that shell no matter what happens. And so your job is to step in and utilize adversity for all of the wondrous things that it brings to the table. Now, I'm going to go over 3 actionables today, and the first actionable is find your truth, right? So in these states of adversity that we come and we find ourselves in, it's so valuable for you to decipher what your truth is, right? I want you to know that limiting beliefs are like that outer shell, that your heart is growing its capacity, and limiting beliefs are like that rigid shell that you're going to have to cast off so that your capacity of heart can keep growing, right? And so your job is to let all of the tangled mess fall, even for just a minute, and create ownership for what your truth is. It's interesting. This week I was having a conversation with a person, and he was dealing with adversity that he was having within his family unit. He was in charge of running an investment for his family, and there was a family member who was undermining him at every turn, right? Trying to belittle him and tell him that he wasn't smart enough and that he couldn't really actually get the stuff done, that he knew better what was supposed to go on, when the person I was talking to actually was strong enough. They knew exactly what needed to happen, but they were being met with this huge challenge, right? Now, that challenge and that adversity is that outer shell, the limiting belief that is embedded in your story. That's what you gotta cast away. But your job in that is to then find what your truth is, right? So as you cast off the limiting belief that doesn't serve you, you got to figure out what that belief is that has to go out the door, and then bring in a truth that takes its place, right? So when we were talking, we were thinking about, okay, so what does this adversity make you feel like? What is this place in the road where you can't seem to get past this other person? What is the undercurrent of that experience? And it's like, I feel tired all the time, and I feel weakened by this person. And I'm like, okay, good. There you go. Maybe your new truth that you need to focus on is something to do with that space there. I was like, figure it out, like go deeper, go deeper. And as we worked on it, it was amazing. We were able to figure out that there was a place in that where his new mantra could be, I wrote it down here, I am strong enough. He came to this place of, I am strong enough. I am strong enough. And I'm like, you know what? Take it another level down. Take off the enough and just sit in that place of, I am strong, right? Remember, we get to feed our energy source into something. And if you, in the step place of adversity, if you step in and you feed into the struggle, if you feed into that the essence of the challenge and what that makes you feel like, the way it makes you feel smaller, that is the energy that you're going to be creating. But if you can understand what it is you're casting off and what it is you're trying to grow within yourself, you can plug into that energy source, right? Those mantras, the I am mantras that I talk about all the time, are so valuable. It's your truth. It's going back to your essential truth. I am strong, right? I am strong. So that first heart actionable, find your truth, create that mantra. I am strong. That is my truth. I am strong. And then you move on to the next heart actionable, which is check your intention. Anytime you're stepping into a place of adversity, you got to check your intention. It is super valuable. You got to step in and show up and figure out what the intention is what outcome do you want? What is the intention that you want to play out, right? So as you're stepping in and you're figuring out that place, step toe to toe with the person that you're having the adversity with. Now, not in person, in your mind's eye, right? I asked him, okay, step toe to toe with your family member, right? Do you have the energy of wanting to pummel them? That's not the intention, right? If in your mind's eye you step toe to toe with that person, you just want to like claw after them. That is the intention that you are unconsciously holding. It's a reactive thing, right? Your intention needs to be clean, right? If you're going to step into your truth, you're going to cast off that shell and step into the ownership of who you really are, which is strong. You've got to create ownership for your intention too, right? So as you're doing this, it's really valuable to look at what it is you want to create, and then look at the other person as if they're their wounded, younger version of themselves, right? If your higher self, check in with your higher self, what do you want? If your higher self is engaging with that reactive, younger, hurt person, then what is the intention? What is the outcome that you want, right? Mind 12 inches down to the heart, right? Step out of the ego, step out of the struggle. You know you're strong. That's your core value there. You're strong. That's your truth. Now, the intention is what? And for him, his intention is that he wanted to create a good environment for his family, right? Like he wanted to do his best to create success for the family and the family investment. And so that was the intention. So he could check in and go, okay, so is me plugging in and fighting back and engaging in this insanity, is that for my higher good? Is that for the higher good of the family? No, right? So you get to choose where you want to put that energy, where you want to create the solidity of the intention, right? So as you're doing this, as you're stepping in, as you're facing it and creating intention, the next thing that you want to do is create a sacred place to move forward. Now, part of creating a sacred place to move forward is understanding that your responsibility is not in pleasing everybody else and making everybody else happy. You cannot necessarily go and calm the pain of the person who's creating the adversity for you. If your intention is clean, if you're aligned with your truth, if you're centered from your heart and not reacting, you're going to find that you're growing that new shell, right? You've found a place under the rocks, like the lobster, and you're learning your lessons, you're stepping into your exercises. that your heart needs, right, to create ownership for that I am strong. Your intention is aligned with the higher good of yourself and all the people involved. And you get to understand that it's not ego, the strength that you're putting out and creating ownership for, but that it's heart, right? You're creating that sacred place for your heart to grow and evolve. The adversity is creating that. You are creating that in partnership with the adversity. It's amazing. Now, as you step in to this place, small steps, right? Your mirror might not automatically change, but you can advocate for their higher good. Before you get into a dialogue with them, let your higher self communicate with their higher self and advocate for the whole party. You can put that energy out there, right? You can step in and you can deal with what comes up slowly, right? Rather than reacting, you can slowly interact with the information in front of you, completely creating ownership for that truth of strength within, right? And remember, there is so much value in being tender with yourself, right? Do you think that lobster goes into that shell and then beats himself up against the rocks to build his new truth, his new shell? No, he's tender with himself. He protects himself. He makes sure that he has what he needs to do what he needs to do to grow. And you have the opportunity to do that too. So as you step toe to toe with adversity, embody that lobster. Embody that place of utilizing the process that comes up. Remember, life is here to serve you. It's here to conspire in your favor. Nothing happens to you. It all happens for you, including this experience that you're having with this person or whatever the adversity may be, however that may manifest in your space. So, as always, know that I appreciate you completely, and I am so excited for what you're bringing to the table of humanity. And if you have any questions or comments about this video or just questions and comments in general, feel free to email me at alicia@awakeningtoyourstory.com or leave questions or comments on any of the social media platforms. I cannot wait to hear from you, and I look forward to the next time we get to chat. So until then, know that you are miraculous. Know that you are valuable to all of us at the table of humanity. No matter what's on your plate, adversity, pleasure, passion, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, there's value for all of us at the table of humanity. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and until then, know that you are completely loved. For more support, information, and inspiration, join me at awakeningtoyourstory.com.